All right, guys, we're back now. We're doing a double feature of our rewatch today. We will not be having a discussion panel
Yeah, no panel this
because,
week.
there was a lot of things that happened, a lot of things that came out. So we just wanted to kind of dedicate the time to make sure we got both of those done. And so
Mm,
first, we're going to be going with our first rewatch, and that was the Snyder Cut, Justice
mm-hmm.
League. It
Yep,
finally came out. It
Justice League
was
the
a
Snyder
thing.
Cut.
It's a thing. It actually
It's a
happened.
thing. It's a thing that was created. I am still very much convinced that the Snyder Cut did not exist before fans asked for it.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That man was like chilling at home, like, I know he had some like family stuff going on, but there was
Right.
nothing that was like, again, how could there have been a Snyder cut if he had never finished the movie?
That don't make sense. Right? That doesn't make any
It,
sense to me. It's not adding up.
so, first of all, before you watched the Snyder cut, did you happen to go back and watch the
Why would I do
Justice
that?
League? I mean, I don't know. Somebody might have wanted to compare it. I don't know. You could have like something going on
That's
there.
somebody else, not me.
I did not. I did not either. I just wanted to know if you did.
Absolutely not. I remembered enough from it where as I was watching the Snyder cut, I could remember like the differences and the stuff like that.
So
So no shit.
I think that was part of the reason, like, what helped me keep remembering how long this movie was,
Yes.
because we would get to like a scene that I remembered
Yeah,
from
it was
Justice League, and I was like, wow, it took us like a really long time to get here. When in the original movie, it was like 10 minutes in or something like that.
mm.
4 hours. I did not actually think it was truly going to be 4 hours, but we got 4 hours.
You know what? I gave it the benefit of the doubt where I didn't think it was gonna feel like I was sitting there for 4 hours because um
I never went that far.
I've watched movies that have been like longer, like a 3 hour movie or something,
Mhm.
where they're around like that 2.5 hour mark is when I'm starting to feel like, oh shit, this is a long ass movie. But then like we almost closer to the end, whatever, where it's done. This one, like 20 minutes in, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a while.
So my thing with it was, I remember when they were first talking about the Snyder League, and they kept saying it was going to be like 4 parts. And so as I'm watching the movie, I'm sitting here watching, like, it tell me like this is part one, part two, part three, part. So when I got to part four, I was like, oh, the movie's over. I was like, that
Right.
definitely didn't feel like 4 hours. Like, that's great. And I looked down at my clock on my phone, and I was like, oh, it's only been 2 hours. And I would like looked up, and I was like, oh no, there's really still 2 hours left of this movie.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me. That was like, yeah, this is really long.
Yeah.
Before
I
that,
I
no.
just felt like it was like such a like not a, I wouldn't say a chore to get through, but it was definitely a to
No, it was
do.
a chore to get through. Oh, that it was definitely a chore to get through. Especially the part where Gal Gadot, as Wonder Woman, was like kind of recounting the entire situation with Darkseid and like the
Oh
Amazons and
my
all the
God.
humans fight. Like, wow, what a horrible moment. I cannot,
Oh my
and
God.
it's like, and so
We
I
came
don't
out of
think
that and we were like, oh shit, we was just in that whole like flashback this whole time.
it was bad. Her
Like, what the fuck
voiceover
is
was
this?
bad. I have come to realize the way I do not like Jason Momoa as Aquaman, I do not like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Like, it's just, it does not work. It should not be happening.
Beautiful
We
woman.
can, beautiful woman,
Like watching
gorgeous.
love watching her fight.
I don't even like that
Damn. Okay.
because it's just like it. It's no. It's time to move past this entire group. Even Batfleck wasn't get. Batfleck had his moments I enjoyed, but it's like what I was expecting him to give, he did not give.
Yeah. I would say that for the entire cast. Ezra Miller
Hated,
fucking sucks as the
hated,
Flash.
hated,
Like absolutely. Like
hated, hated.
how do you how do you cast somebody for the Flash and they can't run? How much sense does that make? How do you cast
Now,
somebody for the Flash and you can't run?
I just don't like him, and it just doesn't feel. Is he supposed to be funny? Like, is he supposed
Ezra
to be
or
like?
Barry?
I mean, either.
Okay, I'm not a speedster fan. You know, that's way too overpowered for me. And um Wally has always been like kind of the funnier one, while Barry has always been like not like boring, but like not funny. Like
Boring.
he's not
No,
like
very boring.
yeah.
Definitely boring.
But he's like just a
Yeah,
person. He's not
yeah.
funny.
I don't enjoy Ezra Miller's Flash at all. I don't enjoy Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I definitely don't enjoy Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I don't enjoy Mira
You know,
Heard's
I wasn't a part of the casting
Amber
for
Heard's
this,
Mira.
but I do want to like apologize to you because I know that Aquaman is your favorite character, your favorite DC character, and for them to get it like that wrong, that's
I have
upsetting. Now
been
he's fine. Let's
burdened.
get that out the way.
I have been burdened with this for years now. For years. From the original moment that Jason Momoa was officially announced to be
Mhm.
Aquaman, my world was crushed. Okay. I think he is the worst actor in the world. I think like
Oh,
even kind of like as a person when I watch his interviews and like what people say about him, he like doesn't really seem that enjoyable. I think about like how on the Aquaman set they talked about how he was like playing practical jokes on everybody the entire time and he was like ripping
like a man
pages out of
child.
yeah, like a giant man. And like someone said, they was like, oh, if he doesn't have attention on him, like he gets really upset. And it's just like, what?
You are a grown ass man.
And my thing is like all of that comes through in his performance. It
Yes.
is it is like he's Lobo.
Yes.
He is
That's what he
Lobo,
should have been.
and it's like you should have just casted this man as Lobo. Like that's perfectly fine. And it's like when the original Aquaman movie came out, like I was able to kind of deal with it because James Wan was really trying to like move past that for him. Like I always think about the scene after Black Manta attacks Aquaman and Mera in Rome, and like they're like on the boat going trying to find Atlantis still. And he's talking about how he is responsible for the way that Manta acts, and it's supposed to be that moment where he finally comes to like this realization that he's this hero and that he's responsible and he's doing all these things, but it falls flat because Jason Momoa just cannot act. And so here in the Snyder cut, you get a Jason Momoa who can't act, and instead of kind of like trying to use the script to like get over that or like move past it, it's like okay, he can't act, but like at least the script can still be meaningful. Zack Snyder's just like no, like just have him go crazy and be full on like rocker
Just
type.
be that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't work. It's like that's not who Aquaman is. Like so, it's like it's no character. It's just bad. And then yeah, I don't enjoy it. Like I've been burning it. I'm ready to recast. Like it's time. It's
Yeah,
time.
that's fair. My favorite DC character is Green Lantern, and
Mhm.
we haven't even gotten to that at all. So
I mean,
at least
I feel like you lucked out. Like you should
okay.
be happy.
Got it, got it. Because I didn't even get him at all on screen. They gave us a little Green Lantern and a dead Kilowog in this. I don't
And then
know.
my thing is also is like, so you get all of these people together, like all these Earthers and all these like humans and Atlanteans and Amazons and all these people because you got Darkseid coming to fight in this huge galactic war, but you only send one Green Lantern. Even if he is the Green Lantern for like that sector. Like
Right.
it's a gigantic galactic war. Like this man is a huge threat who destroys planets. Everyone knows him. Where
That
the
would.
rest of the corps at?
Yeah. I was like, why do they only have one?
Y'all don't defend the galaxy anymore? Like what's the and see now you're making me mad.
Got
And
him.
so and then like let's get into Darkseid.
Child.
What did you say last time? Darkseid ain't?
Darkseid fucking ain't.
He went out like he was a henchman. How was Steppenwolf more powerful and menacing than the actual like big bad of your movie?
Okay, so how that's a good question because I had a very similar question. How when they were doing that whole telling the story of the Atlanteans and everything that you just talked about, that whole fight, I had to ask, like, wait a minute, who was that did the like blow to Darkseid? I think it was just a regular human. Right?
One of the I know. Oh no, like with the axe?
The axe.
No, that was Ares.
It was?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was supposed to be Ares.
So Ares is strong enough to do that to
I
Darkseid?
mean, I mean, Darkseid wasn't very powerful. Like
At all.
He didn't like. He literally like as soon as he got on the battle, they took him down, and his minions had to carry him back on the ship, and he ran away. And then okay, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit really quick, and of course we're gonna jump back and forth. I'm not even gonna like say we're like going on the straight path, but we get to this point where Steppenwolf finds out that the anti-life equation is still on Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Darkseid's like, "Oh, I've been looking for this. Why? Like, did you not know what? Did you not know what planet you were on when you got there? Like, do you not? Were you beaten up that badly that you forgot everything? Were all your minions and all those people around you, did they forget everything? Because you put the anti-life equation on there.
Wait, he did that?
When they originally got there, he like did the
Unity thing?
Yeah.
I thought that like revealed that it was there.
Well, even so, if it revealed that it was there, it was there. You
Yeah.
saw that it was there.
Right.
Y'all were about to use it. That was the entire point.
I thought he didn't know that it was there.
I assumed that he like that was the whole point that they were there, so they could destroy the Earth, and that's why they were trying to stop him. The movie did.
It didn't make sense. Okay.
It's just like I don't like it.
It didn't make a lot of sense to me. When it opened with that Aquaman scene in the beginning, why does he know Icelandic? And why is he just like in this random like town off in Iceland? And why? Okay, these people, those girls started singing or whatever as he's like leaving, and she like smells his coat or whatever, and like, girl, I get it, he fine. Okay, why from that point? Why did every time Wonder Woman appeared, was there something?
The Yoda, yeah, she was screaming, baby. It was the Yodels of war. I was here for it. I'm not gonna lie.
When she was doing all this vibrato and shit and all these runs, I was like, "What is this?" It felt like that's what Zack Snyder hears whenever he like anything that's associated with like Greek culture or anything like that. like that's what he goes on in his head when he sees that Diana came. It was like that appeared. I couldn't stand it.
It was like every single time. It was the funniest thing, and it took you out every single time because you're just like, yo, like what is going on with this yodeling woman in the background? This war, the score could be completely different. It could be something very low and mellow and like calm, and then here she just comes screaming and yelling. Aquaman also had a bad one. He had like some rocker type thing that I just did not enjoy either.
Yeah.
But it was like not good.
Did you like the extended Amazon fight? So I mean, this plot still kind of it was similar, but it made more sense. I will say
the film was a lot more cohesive. Definitely, like
cohesive. Like they took out that whole Batman like a parademon committed suicide, and then like its remain is how they find out about the unity or whatever. They took all that out and made it a lot more cohesive with it's just activated. However, I don't know if this was supposed to be real or if this is just maybe another reason why I don't like Superman. But his scream go all the way around the world.
I mean,
his scream made it all the way to Themyscira. What?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to tell. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
It didn't make sense to me. So his scream made it all the way from Metropolis to Themyscira, and because he screamed, that's what woke up the boxes. The boxes knew that there was no longer like a Kryptonian there. It didn't make no sense. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. So then the box gets awakened on like the Amazonian island, and like everything is in slow-mo. Every scene is in slow-mo.
I truly believe that if everything wouldn't have been in slow-mo, this movie wouldn't have been 4 hours. No. Like, I will say though that the very first slow-mo of like Lois showing up to the memorial, that was giving. Her boots as she walked up on those steps.
Yeah.
And then like it hit like the little moment of her hair, and like Amy Adams' eyes are like super blue, and her like the flap. That was a good one. Like I was like, okay, I'm here for that. But then it's like it just continued and it stayed on, and we were like slow the entire movie, and it was like, okay.
I will give the movie that I preferred her already like coming to the memorial constantly. And that being the reason why she was actually there while the Justice League was fighting Superman, versus Batman being like, oh, call in the big gun. and she pulled
it's just like, okay, Lois.
I definitely will give it that. I did prefer her to have like been visiting the memorial, and that's why she was there.
One thing I also realized about this movie is that Wonder Woman was very familiar with everyone. And like when you think about her history in the DC universe and like kind of what they've built up, it doesn't really make sense for the character. Like she says this one comment, she's like, oh, Atlanteans can be tricky. We gotta be careful around them. Girl, which Atlanteans do you know? Like
it seemed like they were trying to, or at least I assume anyway, that that Snyder was trying to just make us think that like those two cultures like don't get along. Because I think like Aquaman later in the movie said something about like, oh, I know about Atlanteans, like how they could be like hard-headed or something. And I was like, I think they're trying to like say that these cultures and these two people like don't get along.
It's not giving.
He probably was like, he was going to probably like lead into like Flashpoint or something.
And then it's like you give it, okay. And then she's like, all just calling Superman Kal-El willy-nilly. You don't know this man, girl.
She trying to put on.
like she knows. Kal-El. You met him like 10 minutes before he died. Like, what's going on?
Right. So like in the beginning when they had that Amazon fight, my question for all that was they fight Steppenwolf, he comes through, and then the whole thing just falls into the cliff.
Yeah, like
why would you put your box on a cliffside that could just fall at any point?
Well, I think that was supposed to be the point of it. That it was like, should someone come and try and get this box, we will close this off and we will like send it to the bottom of the ocean, so no one can ever get to it. Like we'll destroy it all. That's why it was a thing.
I guess I would never think that would destroy it. Like,
why? I mean, it's not. I don't think it destroys it. I just think they started with. I just think they thought like, oh, we're just gonna send it to the bottom. Away. Yeah, we're just closing it off and sending it to the bottom of the ocean. Like,
but wouldn't the person who was looking for it just go to the bottom of the ocean to get it? They only went anyway to go get the.
We would assume they were already in the castle. But some like all those dead Amazons, they're like trapped in that thing at the bottom of the ocean.
See, it doesn't make sense.
The villains, I don't think should have been as strong. Like in theory, when the Amazons were like setting this up and putting this box in this place, I'm pretty sure in their mind they're like, whoever comes here tries to get this box, we'll shut these gates, we'll send this to the bottom of the ocean, and we'll be done with it. I don't think they realized how strong Darkseid's army is, because Darkseid himself was so weak. So I can totally understand them underestimating the parademons and things like that, because it's like, well, look how easily we took him out.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment. Okay, I'll take that there. Even though like all of them assessments, like you said, Steppenwolf was way like.
Steppenwolf was given. I'm not gonna lie. Like I remember Zack Snyder was doing his little interviews, and he was like, "Oh, they didn't use my version of Steppenwolf because he might have been too scary and this and that." And I was like, "What is he talking about? He's like just being a troll." But nah, that Steppenwolf was given. When he was like, he was. I
liked how alien he looked, and I don't know how I felt about the like. There's some choices that Zack Snyder makes about armor in this that I just don't think that I like, because he tries to make it too like sharp and edgy. Like I didn't like the way that that Steppenwolf's armor looked and how it like reacted to shit. I also didn't like Cyborg's design. Like it doesn't look sleek at all. It looks, I don't know.
I will say about Steppenwolf. I agree. It was very edgy, very sharp. I did love how he kind of basically like stripped naked once Darkseid showed up in his face.
Right.
He was like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, I'm here. I was like, that's respect. I, again, don't know why that respect was had, but in terms of Cyborg, his design was ugly. The I will say I do miss that scene we got in the first Justice League where he kind of like transformed his armor to look more like the like animated, I guess, comic book counterpart.
Yeah.
I thought we were still going to get some type of form of that, and I would have really appreciated it, but we did not. I also feel like
fan, right?
I am a Cyborg fan, and
Yes.
and so that was one of the things I was like, oh, I was about to say actually, I think that's the other thing of why this movie felt so long. It felt like Snyder tried to put two movies in one. He was making like a Justice League movie, and he was making a Cyborg solo movie.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know why.
I feel like I get it just because like of all the stuff that like Ray Fisher had to deal with and the fact that like he was supposed to get a Cyborg movie and then that just like disappeared. Everyone else is still getting their solo movies except for him. And it's just kind of like when else is anyone really going to tell a Cyborg story?
That's true.
So that's why I feel like it was in there. Which I didn't hate. I actually didn't mind a lot of the Cyborg stuff.
No, I thought the Cyborg stuff was actually pretty cool. I liked when he went into the internet and all that kind of stuff. That was really cool. I liked the way that they kind of explained like a lot of his abilities. They did really go a lot more with Cyborg in this than the other one. It seemed as though Cyborg was like not a point of view character kind of, but like you really just kind of got his origin story through a lot of this. I just didn't really like. I just didn't like his design.
The design was very.
I did like that they used his origin to explain how they were going to bring Superman back, which they didn't in the first one. Like in the first one, I think that they were just like, oh, we just going to put him in the birthing chamber and like try to use the cube to do it. But I liked the fact that in this one, they were like, well, if we used the mother box and it like brought me back to life, like we could use it to try to bring back Superman. I thought that was pretty.
It was a nice. A lot of the Cyborg stuff was really done. Ray Fisher also can't act, but that was his was a little bit more, I guess, acceptable because his story was more interesting.
Yeah. So when they get to the part 2 of this and they're at Aquaman, and I have a lot more questions. All it did was like it made Aquaman make no sense, or it made me look at Aquaman and look at James Wan and go, good for you, because you looked at this and said, no, I'm gonna take a little bit of whatever I have to because my contract says I have to tie into this, but I'm watching all of this because
why do we go back to the air bubbles? He didn't want to cut that out.
When Boko showed up, how did they even air bubble even happen? Who did it? Boko don't got no powers. And we already saw in Aquaman that he already had his mother's trident. Remember when he was doing the little spinning thing when he was a kid? He already had his mother's trident. So why did Boko have it and come and give it to him and tell him to take it?
I don't know.
And I thought that the trident of Atlan, is that his name? The trident of Atlan, wasn't that supposed to be like at the bottom of like something like in like the trench or whatever? He just swam up on it in this. It was like at an outpost, and that was it. I didn't understand. And why were they clicking at each other underwater?
I just like it's time to just completely clear
I don't understand why they
the deck. Clicking. It's time to clear the deck. We've got to start over.
Yeah, it's time.
The baddest in the universe is supposed to be coming. It's like I think the Snyder Cut came about for like the absolutely wrong reasons. And I think it was a almost, I guess, acknowledgement in bad behavior and saying like, oh, okay, it's okay to act this way and like do the things and like attack these people and like cry and like pout and bitch and moan and do all this stuff because you're going to get what you want. I do think Zack Snyder is absolutely correct in like the way that he should get to tell his story. Like if he originally set out to tell a movie, like again, this Snyder cut isn't even really that, because should this have come out, it wouldn't have been 4 hours. We wouldn't have gotten all this stuff. We wouldn't have seen it. So it's like, okay, you got to do your little fantasy Elseworld story. Like, great. Congratulations. Let's move past it now. We're not getting a sequel from him. Let's not plan this universe around him. We have moved beyond it. We've moved past it. Let these other directors tell their stories. Let some other people get the chance to bring some other characters in. The Madison universe is coming. If we want to like jump from there and start an Aquaman universe over there, cool. Let's do that. But like what we have now, this Snyder world, it's done. I do not want a Wonder Woman 3 with Gal Gadot. Like I do not want to see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman ever again. Mm-mm. She had her moment. It was great. She brought some girls back. We've been having a good time. Let's move on.
Let's move on. I completely agree. I feel like with the Snyder cut, in my opinion, it is great that he got to complete his vision and the way that he wanted to do it. Now, is this the way that he originally wanted to do it? Personally, no. I think, again, that this was something he created after the fact, where he probably shot a shit ton of footage and he was going to make a movie, but then he had to stop doing that. But then they put on Josh to do it. Then all his fans were clamoring for it. They brought him back, gave him like $80 million and said, make a Snyder cut for us. Basically.
The waste of money, the absolute waste of money that went into this for no reason.
They could have used that money for anything else. That's a whole nother movie. You could have put that towards somebody else's budget.
Y'all been announcing movies every 2 days. Where's Nightwing? Where's Batgirl? Where's Supergirl? Where's New Gods? We saw the new slate. We saw that like Zatanna's coming. We got another Suicide Squad remake coming. Like y'all have all this content that you are trying to push and you want to put out, and you giving $80 million to give us
to that. Like you gonna give it to that? That don't make sense to me. Like I don't know. For me, with the Snyder cut, I appreciate the fact that he was able to complete his vision. Whatever, he got that done. But to me, what you just said is how I feel, where you are rewarding shitty behavior, regardless of regardless if the cut was like his own, creativity and this vision that he wanted to get out or whatever. The people who were asking for this and the way they went about doing it was shitty. It was awful. You can't say no. It isn't a blanket statement about everybody wasn't doing that, but I don't speak in absolutes, not unless I'm being funny. Let's be real here. Not everybody was like that, but like it still happened. Yeah. They under every fucking post on DC Comics asking about this cut and being very rude to people.
Just attacking people. You couldn't do nothing. Even to this day, like if you say something about Snyder, I think somebody called me an asshole one day. Well, I was like, "Oh, that's nasty." But it's just, oh wait, Jared Leto as the Joker.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
That's not true. You're lying. You're being very untrue right now. Like that's not true. It was horrible. The laugh. the like when you like, I was like, I really thought he was like choking. I was like, someone should give him a water. It was bad. Like the whole scene of him and Batman, it was bad. Amber Heard coming in with whatever her line delivery was. She fits right in with this group.
First of all, why does she have an accent? Where did that come from?
She also needs to be recast.
Damn movie, she had this accent, and I was like, you never had that before.
She's also got to go.
Yeah, it's time. I know you were also a big Mara fan. Damn, sorry.
Of the comic books?
Oh yeah, comics. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love comic book Mara. Like yeah.
Movies got Amber fucking Heard.
It's actually gotten to the point with their casting Jason and Amber, I can't move past it anymore. I don't think I'll see the sequel.
That's so sad. That's so unfortunate.
Like, I do not. I cannot sit through 2 hours of them, especially together. At least like no, it's like their acting's actually gotten worse.
Yeah. Ew, I just didn't understand why she had that damn accent. I just
And that was a new scene, so it's like that's something she added. So it's like
added to it, right.
it's like something you're bringing to the character. So it's like, are you going to give me this accent in the Aquaman 2? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. I don't think I'm gonna see it.
That's sad. I'm sorry. Well, hopefully it's. Oh, I had a question. Were those like things that Steppenwolf used to get inside people's heads? Were those supposed to be like a nod to Starro, or was I making, or am I reaching?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it was a nod to Starro. I would hope not. I mean, but some of the things I've heard Snyder say that he wanted to do with this movie, though, it's been a little.
Child, I heard about that. About how like Lois was gonna have a kid, but it was gonna be Bruce's.
So no, the kid that Lois and Superman are going to have was going to become Batman.
Mm. Right, because I heard that it was actually like Bruce's kid. Because like while Superman was going, like they like.
Oh wait, no, I did hear one of those bits. Yes. You're also and this is why. This is exactly why he got cut.
Why I will always be an advocate for people to read more comics.
Also.
Let me tell you why. I think that the downfall for the DCEU were two things, and that was Zack Snyder and his vision, and the second thing being his vision being injustice. I don't think that he ever wanted to make a Justice League movie. I think that at the time after he did Man of Steel, like that took off, it was good or whatever. Then it was time when it was time to do the next thing, the big like comic book zeitgeist at that time was Injustice. Like they had the comic book, which was selling like crazy. The video game was out selling like crazy.
Everything.
Fantastic game, love it. You know,
Everything.
I love Injustice 2. I am a Starfire main.
Of course you are.
But I feel like a lot of that was impacted him because that shit looked cool. Like Injustice was all about Batman versus Superman. That's what people want to see. You want to see that kind of fighting stuff. But we had like years of experience with these characters. So like seeing them in an Elseworld story where they're fighting each other, where Superman went crazy because the Joker killed Lois, and that's what kind of took him over the edge. The comic was way more compelling because we had this experience with these people. This movie, you just wanted to show cool shit that you saw online. Let's call it what it is. Okay. You saw some screen grabs in the Injustice comic. You thought that shit looked cool. Look at the Flash's costume. It looks just like.
Can we talk about the Flash for a little bit? I know we talked about like not liking Ezra Miller in his acting, but I mean like the actual Flash and like the things he did in this movie.
Why did he run out of his shoes? That didn't make any sense. Wouldn't the rest of his clothes also burst off if he's just bursting with energy? It didn't make sense.
You'd have to ask Zack Snyder.
The Speed Force scene, I think, was kind of cool looking. Only because I guess that is exactly how I guess it would probably kind of look to someone who was running faster than light.
Mm-hmm.
That it would like look like that.
I thought the Speed Force scene was nice. I thought again like his running is very awkward. What he does with his arms and like the flailing, it just doesn't look very good. But I did like kind of like after they say, oh no, it's too late, he missed out, whatever, it all explodes, and then he kind of like runs, but he vibrates through the vibration and then like goes back, and he's like, and he knows that's like, oh, this isn't something that I should be doing all the time. Like I'm breaking a rule right now. and seeing it all kind of like come back together was like really nice. Again, that entire scene was also a little weird for me too, because I don't understand why when we got the portal and Darkseid and Granny Goodness and the army are all just standing there. Like, do they not want to like come through, or
I was like, why y'all just standing there? And they
it was
stood there
like
for quite some time.
like the entire time, like literally, like they could have come through. Like, it's an army, you all can come through at any time. You're just standing there. So that was very awkward to me. And also, like, why did they make such a big deal about Granny Goodness being in this movie? She didn't even do nothing.
He didn't do nothing.
What a
And
waste of Granny Goodness. Granny
was that a
Goodness
real
should have
actress
been,
or was that just CGI?
no idea. But I'm upset because it should have been Oprah or Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm,
Preferably Oprah.
that would have been interesting.
She should be Granny Goodness. Nonetheless,
I can't think of the actress's name, but her name is Alexandra or something. I want her to be Granny Goodness.
you know who that is?
Her, or I gotta think of her name. Damn. She was in How to Get Away with Murder. I can't think of her name. She's a
Viola Davis?
trans actress. Um,
Janet
what?
Mock? Was Janet
No.
Mock? I stopped watching How to Get Away with Murder after a while, you know.
Oh, same.
I'm not gonna lie to you about that.
I never.
but
Anyway,
no, Oprah's my dream cast.
she was a waste of.
A waste of Granny Goodness. And I wonder, and so I think my other thing about this is like now Snyder has kind of put, for me personally, a very bad taste in my mouth when it comes to like Darkseid and Apocalypse. And like, I'm a New Gods fan. So I think
I
about
feel like I
Ava.
would be if I read more about them.
They're cool. They're like DC's Asgard.
Ooh.
Or is Asgard DC's New Gods? I gotta see whichever one came
thought
first.
The Eternals and the New Gods were the same thing, because they were created literally like right after each other. I think after Kirby he created the Eternals and like literally left and did the New Gods at
I could
DC.
I could see that too, but it's a lot of their stories tend to have more stuff in line or like in common with Asgard. Just very high concept, because the fourth world itself is like very high concept.
Mhm.
But I'm a huge fan of the New Gods and like Darkseid and like all of that good stuff. Yeah, so it's like seeing all of this again. It's just like, one, I'm kind of tired of Darkseid. We'll start there. I won't lie about that. I think him as a villain as a whole, we could just kind of put a pin on that.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about Ava DuVernay and like the New Gods film, and it's like, are they going to follow this kind of Snyderverse thing? Should it ever come out? Because again, we just talked about how DC's put out a whole slate of movies, and I don't even think New Gods was actually on that slate that they just recently put out.
It was not, no. I think she's gonna be doing more of Naomi now, that TV show.
Oh, I forgot she's doing Naomi. I only say it because I know Tom King is writing for it, and he's like very active saying that he's still writing for it. So
okay.
I don't know. It's like, is she gonna have to follow this? Is she gonna get to kind of do her own thing when she gets the New Gods? Is she gonna like, hopefully not take this version of Darkseid?
I hope not, because I think I do like some of the New God stuff. I do like the female Furies.
They're fantastic.
Call me basic, but I love watching them fight. It is what it is. It is what it is. I can't help it. But I would hope that the New Gods don't follow any of this. Darkseid, I will say that Darkseid, whoever voiced him, he sounded really menacing. I did like whoever was the voice actor for Darkseid. The look of him sometimes, the newer look of him was fine, I guess. The older look of him when he was at that fight with all the 3 different tribes or whatever, I didn't like that.
I didn't like any of
it. Yeah. I mean, overall, I felt like this was a better narrative than the other one.
Agreed.
But was it a better movie? I don't know.
I rated the same, honestly. One's just more cohesive.
Yeah.
It's like, and then my thing is like, it's so long and there's so much that happens in it. It's like kind of hard to really process your feelings on it in the beginning. And it's like, you gotta sit on it for a little bit. But again, it's like, even the parts you think, oh, this is good, it's fine. Like we said, the Cyborg stuff was kind of fine. It's just so much, and you can't really say that this is a Snyder cut because it's not.
Cyborg's dad turn like laser that box on and with himself in the room with it?
So well, I had that same question, and someone was like, "Oh, well, he was trying to get out," and I was like, "Was
Yeah.
he?" Because it just seemed like, and it's like I can understand if like he was scared of Steppenwolf, so he didn't want to like leave out of the glass thing. But it's like you
That
didn't
doesn't
have.
make any sense.
If he only wanted the box, you could have left the box in there. Like you could have closed that door and all that stuff from the outside. It was there
The
were a
thing
lot of choices.
was remote control. Remember, he grabbed
Yeah,
the
that's what
remote.
I'm saying. Like he could have like done it from outside the box. Like a lot of choices did not make sense.
That didn't make a
The
lot of sense.
entire
I caught myself saying that didn't make sense a lot of times in this movie.
oh yeah,
Like a lot.
when Martian Manhunter went to go see Lois as Clark's mom, what was the point of that? Why would
What
you
was the
do
point of
that?
that? Why would he be going to go check up on Lois?
And then my thing is like, why would you do it as Clark's mom? Something that she can bring up to her.
Right. Right.
Like, can you imagine like Lois coming up to you like, oh yeah, remember when you came to visit me? Her mom gonna be like, no.
No.
What you talking about? I never did that. Oh, so now somebody was just up in my apartment. And then even when he comes to see Batman at the end, it's like, oh yeah, I'm ready to fight with y'all.
Where the hell you been?
And then still flies off.
Like I know that there have been questions about like, you know, when the X-Men appear in the MCU, it's like, where the hell you been? But like this kind of shows you specifically why they can't have them probably do that, because literally where the fuck has Martian Manhunter been?
Like, what have you been doing?
You've been here since Man of Steel. Because you was in Man of Steel.
Chilling.
So when Doomsday came in BVS, even Diana jumped in. She like plopped up out of the air and came down with her tiara and bracelets. But
she
like
saw her Kal-El.
Ah, yes, her homeboy that she knows.
It's just not. It just didn't need to happen.
No,
and
it's unfortunate that you can't get a movie with probably the most iconic superheroes ever, really.
Yeah.
Although that's becoming like debatable, I think. I think outside of the Trinity, I think that like if you were to do like a top 10 list outside
it would
of
be
the
mostly
Trinity,
Avengers
I
characters
think that
now.
most of it's going to be Avengers characters, where that wasn't always the case. I think that you could have, I think that it would have been a 50-50 split, maybe even leaning a lot more towards DC as far as like who people knew.
I think if we would have asked this question 10 years ago, we wouldn't have seen any Avengers in it whatsoever. It would have been the Justice League and it would have been the X-Men.
X-Men, yeah.
I think now it'll be mostly Justice League characters. I mean, excuse me, mostly Avengers characters, Batman, Wolverine, and Storm.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe Wonder Woman.
But yeah. You don't think Superman is up there no more? You think he's losing his?
I think a lot of people know. I think everyone knows who Superman is, but I don't think a lot of people like Superman. So I feel like if you were to ask people, it's like, oh, like who would you like rather read or like see about something like that between Batman and Superman? I think most people are going to say Batman.
Yeah.
And then I think they're going to say Batman, then they're going to say Wonder Woman, then they're going to say Superman.
I would agree. DC would agree with you too, because considering Batman is the only thing they put out. Yeah. It's all Batman all the time.
Yeah.
That's wild to me, but here we are. They really just can't get it done. I guess I'm not excited for any of the Green Lantern stuff coming out of that.
Is Snyder involved in any of that?
I hope not.
I feel like if Snyder's not involved, and then like this is not a thing against Snyder. I actually like Sucker Punch. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time.
I do like that movie. Yeah.
You know, I just don't like what Snyder has done in the DCEU. No. I do not enjoy it, and it's again, I totally get people really love his cinematography and like the way he films. Even when I was watching Justice League, I was like, there are a lot of beautiful shots in here. I was like, it feels like every shot is made to be a picture.
Yes.
That you like want to hang up in your wall or something like that. So like I can appreciate the beauty and all of that good stuff, but I just think the time has passed. What he tried to do wasn't really working, Again, he got to do this little story. He got to like flex. He got to show everybody, here's my Snyder cut. This is what I want to do. Cool, we got it. Let's keep it moving.
He also doesn't feel like a fan of DC properties to me. And by fan, I mean like a genuine fan where a lot of the other directors, like they feel like they care a lot about these characters anyway, or they have some kind of experience with them, where I feel like he was just doing stuff that he thought was cool. You know?
Basically.
But I just want us to just be done with this.
And we are.
And we are. We can all
We're
move
free.
on. We can all move on.
You know, I think, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Let's get some recasts in there. Let's keep moving.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a break and then we will come back for another rewatch.
All right.